Hello and welcome to our weekly live show. I am Fabiana Claure, pianist and business strategist for musicians. And you are in the right place if you're a musician who wants to learn how you can grow and scale your music business into the online space and do it in a way where you no longer have to be trading time for money, where you don't have to be sacrificing your artistry or your overall quality of life. Say hello in the chat if you are joining me live. Let me know what your questions are about today's topic. Today, we're talking about how to pivot and adapt your business in changing times. I'm thrilled about this topic because if there's one thing that I have learned to accept as part of being an entrepreneur is that we are constantly adapting. We're constantly changing. Everything around us is shifting in our industry, and we are also growing and evolving. So today I want to give you the top 3 tips that are going to help you understand what you need to do to adapt when things are changing and how you can decide what to pivot, when to pivot, and how to do it in the most strategic way. So number 1, before you even look at responding to the external changes and changing times, you need to be looking at internally, what are the things about your way of being, your perspective, the way you make decisions in life? What are the things about your work and the way you relate to others that you need to start pivoting, right? These pivot points are going to not just always be in a response to external stimulus or external circumstances. They need to be prompted from internal shifts as well. So the best way to start really making decisions around how to react to changing times, what to pivot in your business, is by asking yourself first, what do I need to do differently so that I can get to the results that I'm trying to achieve in my life? What are the things that perhaps I need to stop doing? Maybe start looking at better boundary settings. Having some uncomfortable conversations sometimes are necessary, right? To create the space to widen what you need. And just be willing to make those changes, no matter how uncomfortable they may feel. Making that decision, I need to change things internally first. Maybe you haven't been taking care of yourself. You're really, you haven't been prioritizing your well-being, your space for reflection, for just rejuvenation. So looking inward, right? Deciding where in my life am I not acting in alignment from what I know I want versus what I'm actually doing to get there. So that's the first thing. Looking for internal points of pivot. Number 2, looking for external pivot points. So now when you start assessing in your immediate environment, what are the things that are most urgent that you need to be focusing on as you continue changing and look for opportunities for reinvention, you want to focus on not doing everything at the same time. There's always going to be a hierarchy of things that are more important than others. You don't have to be attending to all the fires you have around you, right? You need to be able to say, okay, right now, there are pressing matters that I need to focus on to expand, whether it's more visibility, whether it's increasing the quality of your lead generation systems, whether you're not satisfied perhaps with the type of clients you're bringing in through your existing content marketing, or maybe there's something that's not working in the work you're doing with your clients. Maybe there's some obstacles they're facing that are not allowing them to get the results at the pace that you would want them to, right? Maybe there's some opportunity for curriculum redesign and reinvention. Looking for what are the things that are right now most important in your external reality that need attention. Without that clarification, without that ability to focus on the most pressing matter, you're just going to get very overwhelmed by all the changing things that are happening all the time, right? So making that decision, where in my external circumstances do I need to zoom in and focus on and make better choices and decide? Can I redesign my sales systems, for example? This is something that a lot of the work we do with clients is all about helping them envision and re-optimize the way they make sales, the way they have conversations with clients, the way they are able to just continuously attract higher caliber students and opportunities because of their ability to communicate strategically the value of what they have to offer, right? So perhaps there's some work that you need to be doing in optimizing the way you make sales, the way you attract ideal clients, especially if you've been struggling with attracting higher caliber clients, people who are more willing and ready and committed to investing at the level that you want them to, right? So just making an initial assessment and then prioritizing, okay, here's what I'm going to zoom in and focus on, right? Now, the third point, in addition to the external pivot and the external pivot, is looking at your actual offer. Like, what are you even doing in your work? How are you packaging what you do, right? for many of the musicians we talk to in our community, there's a lot of time for money trap, right? There's a lot of redundancies in the way they work, and everything they earn is directly tied to them being in a room or in a Zoom and having to be face-to-face with their students, with their clients, or having to be going and performing and doing things directly in person, on stage, getting on a plane, traveling, etc. And so a lot of the times, if you don't really look at the actual way you're working and you get overloaded with other questions that may seem more important, but you don't really address the actual offer that you're building, then none of that is going to matter, because you can redesign and reinvent and pivot all you want all day long. But if ultimately the thing you're selling, the thing you're building is broken in the way it's designed, then it's going to be totally, you're going to get stuck. You're going to stay in the same place, right? Especially for those of you who are sometimes, building your studios and working with students on a one-on-one basis, this idea that you just need to get more of the same. If you're working with 20 students a week, you want to get 40 students, but to continue selling your time for money and trading that, that's the wrong expectation, right? So I want to give you this training to help you also realize that as musicians, you don't have to conform to what you've long been conditioned to accept, which is that you just need to keep trading your time for money. You just need to keep getting more students or getting more performances, right? No, in fact, the opposite is now an opportunity to step back and examine, how are you actually monetizing your services? Could you possibly transition, instead of doing things in a one-on-one format, could you possibly transition into working in a way where you combine your skills, you collect your knowledge, and you transfer that knowledge through online courses, through programs, through modalities that don't require you to be face-to-face with your clients in order for them to get results, right? And so that's going to be the third and most important part of this process, is until you don't take a very, very careful examination and look at your existing offer, what are you even doing as a business model, then you're just going to be spinning your wheels, right? So I want to help you prevent kind of getting in that place. And this is something that I talk about so much in the work I do with musicians as I coach them in our, in our methodology, right? Which is like, if you don't understand exactly what you're selling and you have the wrong offer, no matter how good you are at marketing, how good you are at selling, you're ultimately channeling people into a dead end road, right? So I hope this kind of gives you some initial thought points to start reevaluating, perhaps internally, what are you needing to shift? Externally, what are some opportunities around you that you need to be zoning in and putting your attention? And finally, into your offer, what is it about the way you work that potentially needs re-optimization and redesign, right? So let me know in the comments what your key takeaways are from today's call. And also, I'm actually presenting a free workshop next week where I'm going to be walking you through more of the step-by-step process and how I help musicians do these types of redesigns and restructuring of their studios to be able to shift and no longer need to be in this model of trading time for money and to being stuck in the old paradigm, right? People like my client Aaron, who was teaching oboe on top of working a full-time oboe performing orchestra job, and went from teaching 14 hours a week to teaching 1 hour a week with the same students and earning more, right? Or like my client Raquel, who was able to create an online voice program where she combined all of her skills and she started working with young students in this online way and was able to exceed her yearly salary in just 2 months of applying these processes. So I want to share this with you. If you're excited about learning better skills, newer ways that musicians are today packaging themselves and working in a way that they're no longer having to give all their time away, come on and register. The link is fabianaclaure.com/discovery. That's Fabiana Claure, CLAURE.com/discovery. And you can reserve your seat. This is a completely free workshop. I can't wait to see you there so we can connect. It'll be live. And we'll be able to kind of go more depth into all these strategies and, of course, answer questions, etc. as you go. So I'll be there, ready to serve, ready to support my community. I hope to see you there, and let me know what your key takeaways are from today's training. And also, what would you like for me to continue talking about as I show up every week and add these trainings? I would love to hear from you. What are some of the things that you're maybe curious or maybe you're stuck with in your music business? Let me know, okay? So hop on over and click on fabianaclaure.com/discovery, and I can't wait to see you there. Let's prosper together.